Hello and welcome to the Manifest to Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 91, how to get out of your own way, stop making excuses and manifest what is calling you. Guys, it's time. It's a new year. It is time for you to move forward on all these things that keep nagging at you. You know, the things that keep saying you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. Those things keep nagging you because they are meant for you, because there is a desire within your heart that you cannot quiet. You've tried. And when we have this nagging going on for a long time, we get this low level of misery. We get this feeling like we're not doing what we should be doing. We're not living where we should be living. And because of that, we're constantly shutting on ourselves, right? We're constantly feeling like we are separated from the manifestation of our dreams. And that is no freaking way to live. You know, there is a readiness process that you have to be a part of. There is, all of that. There's this condition that keeps you creating the same thing over and over again. And it has to do with your thoughts. It has to do with your beliefs, and it has to do with your tolerance of the life you're living. You know, that excuse you keep making that everything is fine and that tomorrow you'll do it and next year maybe, and all of those things are the mind's mechanism to keep you safe and the same. I've said it a million times. And the greatest way to dehinge yourself from the mind, to really get out of the mind and put yourself in your truth, is to quiet the mind, to actually gain control and have a mind training practice that allows you to create a little bit of space so you can start being inspired, so you can start living from your passion and stop talking yourself out of the things that you most want to do. Now, there's days when we're not motivated, and I totally get that. Yesterday actually was one, and that's why this podcast is coming to you a day later, because everybody was on vacation yesterday. I saw nobody going back to work yesterday, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to ease back into this baby. There's going to be a couple of changes in the podcast that I've made a pretty solid decision on. I'm going to work hard to stick to this. My shows have been an hour long, and God bless you all who have stayed with me for an hour, but I want to tighten them up, and I want to do tighter shows that are more impactful for you. So I'm going to shorten my shows. And if that makes you sad, just go back and listen to the other ones, because there's a ton of content. I've got like 90 hours of content for you to enjoy over. And it's really good to listen to shows over again, because we move vibrationally and we'll hear messages differently. So you can listen to a show you listened to 6 months ago and it can hit you totally different. That happens when you read a book over again. You hear it at a different level. So I would encourage you to go back and listen to older shows, because they're going to sound totally different to you. If you really want to listen to me go on and on forever. All right. So moving. So this whole idea of shortening the podcast is about me, living what I say I want to live, which is basically stepping into more. It's more creation. It's more books. It's more speaking engagements. It's more of me being able to channel my energies in a very productive fashion, an income producing fashion, if you will, and a fashion that allows me to touch more people. So if you do resonate with this podcast, I would love it if you shared it with your friends. We have to grow this baby. We have to grow this message. We have to let people know that they are in charge. We've got to help people. I was talking to somebody recently and they were talking about someone else and saying that, she's a victim and there's nothing I can say that can change her victimhood. And I get that. I've been with people who are like that, and they're very hard to get through to. But we're planting seeds, and if we just discount everybody and we lose hope in everybody, we're not really allowing the true nature of who we are to be seen, and we're not allowing their true nature to come to the surface. Everyone's awakening. Everyone's at their own level of spirituality. So it's not that we're pushing things down people's throats, but if we're planting seeds, you never know when that one little thing you say will completely affect someone, and they'll take that seed and they'll start watering it and it will start to grow, and you just never know what that is. So it's important for us to move these messages along, to share them with people, to help people to understand that they are powerful and that we live in a world where we can take our power back on every front. And 2023 feels very different to me. It feels like the manifestational abilities are going to be stronger. I can't explain it. I'm sure there's planetary stuff going on. It's just an intuition that I have that we are on the heels of really great stuff. And if we shift just a little bit, this is the thing about this talk, getting you to just shift a little bit, to change the energy field just a little bit, yields huge results. So I did a teaching last week, and that was the reason I took last week off from podcasting. And if you're still interested, I have that recording. It's $77. You can share it with a friend, so 30 something bucks. And the recording comes with a writing prompt and a guided meditation. So I had someone, a part of the class, that reached out to me the next day and said that her divorce had finalized after 5 years in her favor. And I said, wow. And, I gave, of course, I give the credit back. I don't ever take the credit. The only thing I do for everyone is I just remind you of who you are. I just remind you of of how powerful you are. And that shifts the energy field. That allows you to feel a little bit better about things. And when we feel a little bit better about things energetically, we put ourselves in a different frequency where things can get solved, where things can turn in our favor. So that's, so freaking cool. And it makes me just want to do more. It makes me want to teach more classes. It makes me want to affect more people because it's so powerful. This information is so incredibly powerful. So I hope that you're taking it in. I hope that you're actually creating the activations and the shifts that are necessary for you to live your life more golden. It's 2023, baby. We've got a fresh year of energy. Everybody feels different when we move into a new year, right? The problem with the new year, or the challenge that people have with the new year, is they step into resolutions, right? And I think a lot of people have even given up on resolutions. They step into resolutions, they step into this new energy of, I'm going to join a gym, right? And then like 3 weeks later, they're back to their old identity, doing what they did before. The reason why that is because the mind is going to work on you to bring you back, to work on just keeping you the same. So in order for us to override that old identity, we have to be super diligent and really determined. My Mindful Manifestation Secrets Daily Guide and Journal is coming out any second now. I'm going to actually call Amazon today and see what the holdup is because they're supposed to be approving it in a much shorter time than they are. But that book is going to help you to actually clarify and really solidify what you want to do this year, exactly what you want to do this year, and the thoughts and energies and beliefs that you need to have to actually make these things become a physical reality. Energetically, you already have these desires, and that's good. That's good. When we know what we don't want, we know what we do want much more strongly. The issue in manifestation, if you've been wanting these things for a long time and they're not manifesting for you, it's because you've had the same conduction, and maybe you've lost a little hope, and maybe you've kind of given up on your dreams. It's the same conduction over and over again, year after year, that keeps you from actually creating these things. We have to do something different. We have to think something different. We have to believe something different if we want something different to happen. So there may be little things that you need to do, little changes that you need to make. So first you have to acknowledge where you are. I always say, in order to set your GPS to know where you're going, you have to acknowledge where you are. You've got to get real about where you are. You got to get real about the things that are really holding you back. Do you have a bunch of substances in your life that are screwing with you? I really think that's a lot of people's issues, and I'm going to explain why. So substances, alcohol, weed, drugs, whatever you're doing, to change your state. That's what we do. We do it to change our state, to make ourselves feel more relaxed, to make ourselves feel better. What happens is these substances are of a low frequency. They bring your frequency down. So you may initially feel like they're bringing your frequency up, but when you're coming down off of them, your frequency is going to be lower than it was when you actually started. It may not feel that way because you may be like, oh, I was in a bad mood, and I don't think that I felt better when I actually had a substance. I felt better. Okay, so you're going to feel better for a little bit. then your body's going to have to do some detoxing. And as it's doing detoxing, you lose your manifestational powers. That's what you do. You don't conduct as strongly when you're detoxing these substances because you're in a low frequency. That's what happens when you drink alcohol. That's what happens when you smoke weed. You put yourself on frequencies where you are subject to a lot of self-deprecating thoughts, especially if you're trying to give up substances. The believe me, I'm talking from experience here. That self-deprecation, it pulls you out of the game. And that's why I always tell people, if you're working to let go of these substances and you have a slip up, don't beat yourself up, because that's letting the lower frequencies win. Take the information you're getting and be more determined. My husband and I started with an app called Sunnyside. It's a mindful drinking app, and I really, really love it. You all know I used to be part, or maybe you don't know, I used to be part of 1 Year No Beer, which was kind of more about letting go of alcohol altogether. And I really felt like I was on a journey with it, and I wanted to process through it because it is so reaped in our society and there is so much social programming about it. I thought that I could be more effective with my journey, because letting it go totally it just never felt good to me. It kind of felt like I was losing my best friend, right? Like that's how reaped it is in our lives, right? And I wasn't a daily drinker. I'm a weekend drinker, a social drinker. I never drink alone. But that hook that it would get in me, that hook, right? So we started this mindful drinking app a few months ago. I think my husband started in October, maybe September. And all it does is it just makes you more aware. Makes you more aware of how many you're drinking, of how you feel afterwards. And as you start to let it go, it actually has more detrimental effects on you. And this is why: because you raise your vibration when you let go of substances. And then when you have one, you feel the lowering a lot more because you are in a higher state. Now, the belief is, if we're drinking and we're with friends and we're having a good time, that, we don't want to miss out on those things. But we don't know, because we've been doing this for a long time, or at least I have, we don't know the fun we could have without it. We really don't recognize that. So right now where I'm at, I'm actually doing dry January, and I feel really good about that. I've taken months off before, and it feels great. And it just feels great to just cleanse and just detox and just allow myself, my vibration to raise, and not even sure if I'm going to come back. But if I do, I've got this mindful idea where I don't feel like it has power over me. If you feel like a substance has power over you, we've got to get a handle on that. I do have an episode on addiction. The biggest thing about addiction is within 3 days, the cells of your body reassimilate, they reorganize. So the physical addiction, unless you're really drinking, like if you're really drinking every day, giving it up like that could actually kill you. But if it's just like an everyday thing or an every weekend thing, it's just the thoughts. And a craving only lasts a few minutes. And if you can distract yourself away from it, one of the greatest, when I gave it up for a few months in September, one of the greatest things I would say is just don't drink. Just don't drink. And that was my mantra. Just don't drink. Like, you can drink other things, just don't drink alcohol. And that really helped me. And I recognized how much fun I had, how present I was, how amazing life is without it. So take a cleanse, like allow yourself, you can go back to it. It's not a forever thing. Just take 30 days and let go of all the substances that are screwing up your manifestation game. I promise you, they're screwing up your manifestation game. And we've got a lot of people out there, a lot of celebrities, a lot of like what we look at in the world as successful, like Snoop Dogg, and I'm trying to think of somebody else. Snoop Dogg comes to mind, Joe Rogan, they're all smoking pot. This is the thing about it. And we say, oh, well, they're doing it and they've become successful. We don't know how amazing these people would be without it, quite honestly. So as much as you think you need it, and as much as you think your life is better for it, I'm going to call bullshit on all of it and tell you that you need to come to the table and be honest with yourself and let these things go for a little while to see if that improves your manifestation and your focus game. It's focus. We can't focus when we've got these substances running through our veins. In order to focus, we have to be clear-minded, clear-headed, and we have to have a strong desire towards our manifestation. That is it. That's the truth. Okay. Enough about that. Good Lord. Didn't know I was getting on that soapbox today. We lose power because we lose focus. That's the biggest reason why we lose power, because we lose focus and we allow our minds. This is the biggest factor in all of this. We allow our minds to talk us out of the things that are out of our comfort zone. And when we do that, we actually, we settle back into this comfortable life. We call it, it's my comfort zone. It's just easier. It's just easier to stay here. It's easier to stay on my recliner and watch TV and drink beer. It's just easier, right? Oh yeah, it's easier, but it's not fun. It is not fun. And eventually you're going to have health problems and all sorts of problems because you didn't get out and actually experience life. We are here for the adventure. We are here. This is your play. You get to script it, you get to write it, you get to cast all your characters. And because of that, you get to decide in this moment right here how things are going to play out. I've been doing a little thing called scripting. I've shared that before, where in the morning I just do a paragraph or a page on my life as I wish it to be, as if I'm already living it. What that does is it aligns you with the identity. It puts you in the feeling place. Often we don't want to get into the feeling place of our dreams because it feels, it may feel like it's too far off, or it feels bad because we're not living it. And we don't allow ourselves to go there because we live in this limited potential, right? So we don't allow ourselves to really think about things. If you're in a situation where you have a problem, right, and you want to work on a problem, you're in the problem, right? You want to work on the problem, you're in the problem, you can only think about the problem, you can only talk about the problem. If you could take yourself out of the problem, give it a little bit of space, take some time to breathe, and actually contemplate and script how you want this thing to be solved, you would energetically align with it. And that is way more effective than all the physical energy you could do out of desperation. So it doesn't mean we sit around and wait. It means we intend. That is a strong focus. We intend, we feel gratitude, we know how powerful we are, and we write it down. Writing is the strongest form of focus. Writing also helps you to clarify. If we don't get real about where we are and what we've been doing, we can't set that GPS. And second of all, when we get clarity about really what we want to live, we get more powerful about it because we're not wishy-washy. We're not like, oh, I kind of want this thing to happen, but it can't happen because of this. Like all of that wishy-washy energy doesn't create a strong conduction, that wave behind me. It doesn't create the quantum wave that allows the energy to become a force. Think about the waves in the ocean. They are forceful. They're not like, okay, I'm just going to slap against the shore and, no, it's a power, it's a force. And we all have the ability to tune into that power and force by our will, by our determination, by our ability to believe that it's absolutely possible for us. All right. Come up with a plan. Come up with a plan for yourself. So whatever it is that you're looking to create this year, if it's a book, let's come up with a plan. Now I've got a creatives course that's on my website that I'm ready to relaunch, and I'm even ready to teach it live. I actually have all the recordings, but I'm ready to do some Zoom support on the creatives launch because I really think we got to get more creative. I really think that getting into our creative juices is what's going to change everything. It's going to change our world. It's going to change your world. It's going to change my world. And, you have gifts, you have talents, you have things inside of you that need to come out. The other thing that this does when you start getting creative and you start answering that call of your heart is you get rid of that low level of misery. You're like, I'm doing everything I can do, so I'm doing great. So it gets you out of the shoulding on yourself. So if you want to write a book, I am very skilled in writing books, and the best way to do it is 3 pages a day. Literally wake up 15, 20 minutes, write 3 pages a day. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Don't do anything. Just write it. 3 pages a day. in 30 days will give you 90 pages. And a book should be short at this point in our lives because people's attention spans are short. That's why I want to shorten this podcast, because people's attention spans are short. So short, punchy book that really just puts your message out into the world. 3 pages a day, contact me. I know the next steps. Yeah, contact me. I'll take you through it. And it's not expensive. It absolutely isn't expensive. I'm going to pump out a lot of books this year. I've got a cookbook I want to do, a high vibration cookbook, Live Life Goldyn cookbook. I've got my prequel to Quantum Speak, or my prequel to Mindful Manifestation Secrets, which is basically our life story. And then I'm going to put a book out for teens. And I think I'm going to try to do the teenage one first, because that one's almost done. And I feel like there's a call for that in the world. Hello. All right. So getting rid of the nagging is going to be a great thing. 3 pages a day. If it's a podcast you want to start, just do it. Just do it. Talk to me. I'll help you. Let's get your voice out into the world. I know there's resistance. I have a lot of resistance around silly little reels and TikTok, and I'm over that, baby. I'm over that. I'm going for it this year, because I know that all this resistance and the nagging is making me shit on myself, and I don't want to live like that anymore. So let's do this. If it's a relationship that you want to create, think about the ways, like, you got to acknowledge where you are, that you've blocked relationships. Have you gotten into relationships and thought about all the things that were wrong with the person? A relationship is worth it. Like, if you find a good person and they've got a couple of things that are not great, take the time to heal, take the time to do the work together, and you will create a great relationship. I think when we get into relationships, especially if you have a lot of wounds from old relationships, we're constantly looking for things to, and I'm not talking from experience. The experience I'm talking from is working with someone and creating the richest, deepest relationship I think possible on this earth. Over 37 years, we've done that. But other people that are in my lives, I watch them, and their tendencies and the way they derail themselves and the way they pull themselves out of good relationships. If you find a good person, it's worth working on that relationship. And if you haven't found them yet, get really clear about the way you think about it. Get really clear about the way you think about yourself. Because if you're thinking shitty thoughts about yourself, no one else can reflect love to you. So you got to clean up that inner story first. Go to my shitty committee episode and listen to that again. I've got plenty of stuff on self-love in here. Just look through my episodes, because you've got to clean up that inner story in order to really find the love that you are incredibly already worthy of. You've just got to clean up the belief system. So acknowledge where you are, and then get really clear on what you want. I want this relationship. I want this amazing person. I want to feel good in their presence. I want to travel. I want to find, and really visualize and feel into that. Really script that out and make room in your life for them. If there's no room in your life for someone, they can't fit. So you have to make the room in your life for them. And that doesn't mean, you don't go out and have fun. That means that, you don't sit around and be lonely and miserable. You activate from the energy of, I am here. I'm available. I'm ready for love. That means getting out. That might mean a dating site. I don't know. Maybe eHarmony. I don't know. I promote eHarmony. I have no idea, but I think it's a good one. Pay the extra money. Get on the good dating sites. Don't get on the dating sites with the people who are just looking to hook up. Get on the right ones. If a dating site absolutely makes your skin crawl, then don't do it. This person's going to manifest, but you've got to get yourself out there. You've got to activate the energy. Sitting at home, he's not going to knock on the door. I mean, he might, but he's probably not. You got to get yourself in a higher vibration of activity. Like, think about this. Think about what you would want to live if you had that significant relationship, and start doing those things. Stop waiting for that person and start doing those things. You can do it with a friend. I know it doesn't sound good to do it by yourself. Just get out there and start doing things that puts you in the energy and higher vibrations. Okay. It's up to you to change. It's up to you to change your tendencies. It's up to you to change your responses. And it's up to you to manifest what is calling you. You may need to make little tiny shifts. Once you start feeling better and feeling different, that's when you know the energy has changed. Some of y'all need to take the quantum leap. Some of y'all need to just sell everything you own and move across the country. I'm not kidding. You know I'm talking to you. Some of you need to do this because it's been calling you for so long and you're just waiting and you're just miserable about it. And in order for you to actually live it, it may take a quantum leap of faith. And the thing about quantum leap, and I can speak very from my experience in this, you can't fathom what's going to happen. So it's like we want all our ducks in a row. We want to know that we're moving somewhere. We want to know where we're going to live. And we want to know we have a job. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you got to make this leap of faith and it's going to be a little hard. It's going to be scary. There's going to be a lot of fear, but you are going to become more. You are going to become more. It's an exponential growth in your expansion, in your living here, your soul. And you will not regret it. I promise you. Making these huge leaps of faith are what brings more life to you. It gives you a greater capacity for joy. It gives you more appreciation for things. You know, now that we are settled and we have a home and wonderful things, and we've got a little level of security, like there's just this false freaking sense of security that we all live with, that like things are always going to be the same, and it's not true. Things can change like that. And that's why I feel so passionate about saying, let's live life now, because you can't wait. I had a lady comment on one of my things today, and it was about getting out of your own way. And she said she just got off the flu, and man, does she want to live life now. And it's like, are we going to wait for an illness to make us want to live? Are we going to wait for a sickness? Are we going to wait for, a trauma in our life to live? Or are we going to do it now? I say do it now because I don't really need those chaos moments. I don't need those, catastrophes to move me into action. I don't need that. What I want is to create from my joy. I want to create from my passion, and I want to create from what my heart is calling me to. And I want that for you too. So let's get out and live life now and not wait. So begin asking yourself, what can I do? What can I do? First of all, let's be clear about where I am. Okay, so I'm here. Like maybe you're not in the best situation. Maybe you're in a life-sucking relationship. Maybe you've got a substance issue. I'm not going to say that I don't like being powerless about substances. They don't have power over you. That's bullshit. They do not have, unless it's like, I do think heroin's got some power over people, but I'm saying like alcohol and weed, like those things don't have power over you. You've given your power to them, but it's time to take it back. So what can I do? Where am I? Where do I want to go? Where am I? Where do I want to go? Get clear about that. Write it down. Start scripting about it. This is a shift in energy right here. And then what can I do more of to put myself in the resonance, to put myself in the identity, to put myself in the energetic alignment with what I say I want to live? What can I do? Is it these little things that I can do, or do I need to break free and do something like blow up my whole life? You're never going to be sorry for doing that, especially if it's something that's called you for a long time. You will wonder why you didn't do it earlier. You will. And I don't have any regrets about waiting the 4 years to get ourselves, I truly believe there's a process, and when you're ready, you will do it. But if you're just waiting, there's no activation of energy. So we've got to, and mind you, in those 4 years, there was a lot of activation of energy. I was listening to the waves of the ocean. I was cleaning out my house. I was trusting. I was believing. I was scripting. All the stuff that I scripted came true. I love scripting. It's really, really powerful because writing is the strongest form of focus. So you've got to get clear about what you want, and then you just have to start doing a little bit. If that big stuff scares you, then you're not ready for it. So just start doing the little incremental shifts that are going to create something new and exciting and actually put you in the level of activation. It's not an either or situation. You don't have to blow up your life. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to do any of that. It's just these incremental shifts, the millimeter shifts that up level you into a new vibration. It's letting go of the shitty committee. It's connecting with your love, the love that you have for yourself. It's letting go of all those things that cause you to be miserable. And then it's doing a little bit of activation in order to create something new. That's all it is. It's an activation of energy. All right, so that is my show for today. A Mindful Manifestation Secrets daily guide and journal is coming out super soon. I will let you know as soon as it's ready. It's a powerful one. And then my teaching is on my website, Mindful Manifestation course. And then I'm going to be launching a lot of things. So make sure you're on my Facebook page. Make sure that you're following my YouTube. Make sure that you're listening to this podcast, because I am going to be launching a couple of new things that are just going to help you in this process. They're just going to help to inspire you, to help you to gain some confidence, to help you to let go of those old stories and put you in a place of incredible manifestation. I love you all. I did it, you guys. It's like 30 minutes. I did it. So I'm going to stay committed to the shorter shows and bring you guys more of what's coming through so that I can live my life, more energetically aligned, and we can create together. Peace.